I'd like to call to order the Clarkson Independence District Library Board of Trustees meeting for May 14th at 6 p.m. Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Jan Gaffney.
Here.
Michelle Gann-Thompson. Dan Green.
Here.
Mary Himberg.
Here.
Allison McFadden-Kiesling.
Here.
Marilyn Pomeroy.
Here.
Ann Rose.
Here.
Julie Meredith.
Good. I'll accept a motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented.
Who's my second? Thank you.
Any questions, comments? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Call to the public.
Hi, I'm Julie Sisselowitz on behalf of the Friends of the Library. I want to report on a really successful spring book sale. We raised $9,431. That is our highest grossing sale since the fall of 2013, and our highest grossing spring sale since 2010. So we're real happy. We want to thank you for your participation and support and all of that as well. We had 61 volunteers who contributed 333 hours. We also had 16 National Honor Society students who helped us.
You did an excellent job.
Yes, they did. We like young people with muscle. And we had Impact Weekend volunteers to help with cleanup on the last day, so it was wonderful. And all 50 of our brand new purple signs were returned intact, so that was very not always happens.
No, nice signs.
Thank you. Did you like them?
Yes.
Did they stand out, especially in the springtime? Okay. We have a new board member on the Friends Board. Her name is Jessica Dellinger, and she's going to be working with Julie on prepping the newsletter for us. So we're looking forward to her. And she's young, so that's also a good thing. You laugh, but it's really an issue. The board also voted to provide tickets for 4 folks, staff members, to go to the Clarkson Community Awards on May 22nd. And I noticed that we have Lions members here tonight. They visited us last week at our board meeting as well. And they presented us with a check for $500 for the Overdrive service. And the board voted to match that $500. So we'll have $1,000 for that. So thank you again. And it's good to see you. And that's it.
Thank you. Sure. Very much. Any other members of the public who wish to speak at this time? If not, we'll close. You're on the agenda. We'll close the call to the public at 6:04. I'll accept a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Does anyone wish to discuss any of the 5 items individually? Okay, if not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Consent agenda is approved. Library statistics.
So for your statistics, I talked to Lawrence, and he wanted me to highlight a couple of programs that have been done recently. The Veterans Business Outreach Center did a How to Sell Your Products or Services, and we had 25 people attend that. We also had an Etsy 101 Basics of an Online Store. We had 23 attend that, and then we also had a Dealing with Stress, and we had 17 people attend that, and those were all part of a business series that Trevor put together. So he wanted me to highlight those and those numbers he's doing. So not only is he doing outreach and interfacing with the business community, but he's also doing programs and people are attending them. So he's super excited about that.
And we also had a nice VIA presentation that was
Yep.
well attended also.
Yeah, that one was yeah.
Okay, library director's report.
Okay, I have some interesting things to tell you about tonight. The Clarkson Independence District Library has been awarded an LSTA Public Library Services grant in the amount of $1,500. This is a project Lawrence Marble has been working on. He plans on developing an ESL collection, including ESL teachers, and determining what materials would best serve their needs and the community's needs. And this grant will allow us to purchase Wi-Fi hotspots for checkout, allowing families without internet to access our databases from home. Lawrence is hoping the ESL collection will give students, parents, and teachers the tools they need to develop skills necessary in daily life. Benefits to offering such a collection would include preparations for the GED, citizenship tests, and giving parents the opportunity to read to their kids. So this is something, as you know, we've been working specifically with North Sasheville on ESL, and we've been having ESL programs in the library, so this is an extension for the parents.
Good, and what does ESL stand for?
English is a second language.
Okay.
Sorry, I should have put that in there right off the bat.
Just in case.
So, yep. Teen librarian Alexa Lalagini and IT assistant Connor McNamara will be presenting at the American Library Association National Conference in New Orleans in June. Our library was one of a very select group awarded a grant to provide coding workshops for teens. Included in the grant is the cost of their attendance at the conference in order to be able to share with other libraries the way they execute this project. So this is a project a grant that we got at the end of 2017, and they started like in November, December. They did one session of coding, and then they had January off, and then they're now doing a second session of this coding workshop, and they'll be presenting it at ALA. So they're really, really excited about that, and we're excited they're doing it. On May 14th, we started a 3-month extended trial of Morningstar Investment Research Center, and we'll collect feedback to determine whether to add it to our collection of databases. During the trial, Morningstar can be accessed via our business and investing page, both in the library and remotely, and this is something that Trevor's working on, our business and marketing librarian. There's been a lot of requests for this,
Yes.
and he's hoping that now that we put it out there, that people will indeed find it and use it, and if it does get a lot of use, then we will add it to our subscription databases. In terms of project updates, last week the concrete contractor was at the library assessing the area we would like to put the outbuilding that will be built with the high school's construction trades class. He spoke to a civil engineer who provided guidance regarding the depth of the slab that should be given, the size of the building, and what will be stored in it. He also mapped out where would be the best walkway to provide easy access. He'll be drawing up a proposal for the board to review very soon. While this project is taking some time, it has truly become a community-supported endeavor, as the engineer and the concrete contractor are willing to adjust their timeline to ensure that the students at the high school will be able to be part of this project and observe the work when it's being done. So we were specifically looking for a contractor who would work on a timeline that would allow the students to attend the pouring of the concrete, see how the slab is created, and talk to the engineer about how much rebar and why are they doing it and how deep to prevent freeze, heave, and all that stuff. So it takes longer when you're trying to do it this way. If we just hired a contractor, they could just put it in. But we have to do everything the hard way.
I know that's really a good opportunity for the students,
Yes.
and I'm excited about it.
Yep, and we're really excited to be
Before
able,
they construct it.
yep. And we're excited to be able to put a sign on it that the students built it for us. So it's a great opportunity. Clarkson Chamber broadcast a live event from CIDL during National Small Business Week on Thursday, May 3rd. Each department in the library was able to tell the community about themselves and their upcoming events. The video is available to watch on the Chamber's Facebook page, and if you haven't yet had a chance to check it out, please do. Everybody did a great job. They basically came in and toured through the whole building. They talked to children's services, they talked to adult services, they talked to circulation. It was really, really well done and great fun. So you've got a handout that came with your director's report. Christina Bowers and Trevor Wynn have completed the first issue of Explore, which is the printed version of the program guide that is featured in the township guide that is mailed to residents. The printed and digital Explore magazine includes all summer programming, but with additional content that we hope will be useful to our patrons. It was increased by 2 pages and will be stapled, preventing the loss of the inner pages. And highlights from our first issue include a message from the director, lots of staff-sourced reading recommendations, stats to demonstrate community usage, and a meaningful poem by a member of our teen writers group. And that teen writers group is a collaboration with the Optimist Club. Copies should be available to the public next week, but you have a cheater copy in advance, so you can enjoy that.
Great.
In terms of collaborations, the library will be part of the Clarkson Chamber's Food Truck Rally on Friday, May 18th from 4:30 to 9 p.m. It's fun, free, family-friendly event. It will take place at Neiman's Family Market. It will include 16 food trucks, adult beverage tent, live music, and a kids zone. Last year, over 3,000 people attended, so we're excited to be invited and included in that. That's something the Treasurer's working on. And last but certainly not least, the Clarkson Community Awards Breakfast will take place on Tuesday, May 22nd at 7:30 a.m. at Clarkson Community Church. In its 33rd year, this event honors the people and organizations that make Clarkson a great place to live, play, and do business, so we're encouraging people to attend that. Any questions on any of those projects?
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Got a busy month.
Been very busy, yes.
We like that. Yep. All right, let's move to regular business. And first, we have a presentation of the Braille Tales collection of books by the Clarkson Area Lions Club. We're looking forward to this.
Thank you.
Sure.
Recently, in one of our Lions magazines, Grace ran across an article for a program called Braille Tales. The books, Grace.
The books?
The books.
Let me do this first.
Okay,
I
do
think-
that first.
Okay. This is the actual article.
Right.
I put it in there.
We have.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yep,
Oh, so-
yep, I made sure to put it in the packet so they could
Okay.
read it in advance.
Good.
Very good.
Anyway, that article is what started my thinking on it, and was able to go to the printing company, and that's where we got some sample books
Okay.
that we're giving.
Grace is going to give you each one because these books are unique and fascinating. This program was developed with the Lions support in the American Printing House for the Blind, which is based in Louisville, Kentucky. And they teamed up with Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, which provides books to preschool children. These books are an extension of that program. They are printed books, just regularly published printed books, but what they do is they print clear labels with Braille that are overlaid on the text in the book. And the beauty of this, it's really actually, there's two different ways this is helpful. This program is specifically directed to preschool children, and you can start as a newborn receiving these books,
Okay.
and up through 5 years old. And every 2 months, they will send the child a new book. The advantage is twofold, in that the child can be looking at and reading, the mother can be reading the book to the child. They can be feeling the Braille as they're hearing the text. In addition, if there are siblings in the family, the siblings can see the pictures, can see the text, but the blind child can follow along. The other way that this program is beneficial is in situations where the parent is vision impaired. If the parent is vision impaired, then she can be, or he can be reading the book to their child while they are seeing the text and the pictures.
Sorry.
And due to Brace's efforts, pestering, I'm sorry.
The squeaky wheel, right?
He's a very squeaky wheel. But he was able to talk with the people in the program, and she said, I have a bunch of these books that are, leftovers, and, that she would be happy to send them to him. So we were very, very pleased because we received these books from them, and I talked to Julie about it and said, we would love to get these into our library so that they are available to the community in general. And we really have, two purposes here tonight. One is to present the books to the library, and the other is we really want to get the word out throughout our community that any families that have vision impaired preschoolers, let them know about this program, and Julie and I will be working with different ways to do that. And I know the library has plans for our books as well. So.
And my name is Brad. I'm the head of technical services here, and we just wanted to officially thank you for the donation of the books. We've been wanting to separate out a collection of Braille materials for quite a while, but we just didn't have enough to do that. So with this donation, we will have our own beginnings of a Braille collection in the juvenile section of the library. So it'll have its own shelf. I've got an example of a processed material here with the Braille spine labels, as well as a donation plate in the front saying donated by the Clarkson Area Lions Club. And
This is so cool.
this has the Braille sticker as well, right on the.
We were
right
so
on the
excited
gift
about
plate.
that. So we were about it.
We were lucky enough to have a staff member who has access to a Braille typing machine. So we will be adding one of these gift plates into each of the books that you are giving us.
Very good.
Wow, great.
Thank you.
Well, we'd like to thank you on behalf of the board for this marvelous donation to the collection. We like to service everyone in the community, and steps like this make that more possible.
And, that is what the Clarkston Area Lions and Lions International is all about. We were actually charged by Helen Keller to provide services to the blind in our communities. We continue it today.
If I may, just two things. One, to add to what she said, is that 100% of the money that we bring in through our activities goes back out. There's no administrative fees that are stuck into the money that we raise in the different projects. Secondly, watching the activity of Chris and your people is amazing. And as a resident of Clarkson Independence, I'm personally so pleased that the positive attitude from the library has been just so outstanding that I just can't emotionally tell you that how well it is. And you really, each one of you should be so proud of how your library and your staff and your people do so well. And just the attitude is that positiveness, and it really shows. So I want to really thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody have any comments or questions?
No, I just think it's great.
Very thorough. We had sort of heard about this from the Friends presentation, so we're really looking forward to seeing this. So we're very pleased, and we thank you. Collaboration is always good for the
That's
community.
what we're all about. We like working with our community groups.
Well, thank you very much for making that presentation.
Thank you.
Bill, are you helpful in adding some of this?
Not the actual Braille that's on the books, but my daughter's the one that brailled the cover for the donation tag.
Excellent.
Great.
So I'm going to co-op here into doing a few more.
Yes, a community service project.
Community service
There
project.
we
Yep,
go.
she needs hours.
All right, thank you. Now, we'd like to move on to our audit presentation.
I'd like to think this will be as exciting, but I don't think it will be.
Probably not quite as much.
It's necessary. It's necessary and important.
So tonight I've passed out a presentation handout as well as the bound audit report. But I'm going to plan to go over the audit presentation handout. I pulled some excerpts out of the bound report, put them in here, and it'll allow me to make some notes and highlight a few things. Hopefully it'll help you to follow along as I start to talk fast.
Yes.
Feel free to stop me if you have any questions as I go through this. But a couple of general comments are thanks to Julie and the library staff as well, and also to Sharon Duckworth for their courtesy, cooperation, and assistance. I thought you were working very well. Again, it's like clockwork now, right? So what I plan to do is highlight what I think are the key areas, but as I said, feel free to stop me if you have questions. Pages 1 and 2 of the presentation handout, and I'm referring to the page number off to the right in the lower right-hand corner in red. That pages 1 and 2 make up the independent auditor's report. And the purpose of an audit is to express opinions on your financial statements. The purpose of an audit is not to detect fraud or give you an opinion on your internal controls. Fraud detection, deterrence, and prevention, as well as sound internal control, is management's responsibility. And management is also responsible, as I highlighted in that second paragraph, for the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements. And that includes the internal controls over that financial reporting. So this document, or that bound document that you have, is yours. The library's financial statements, they're not ours. The only thing that we take ownership of is the opinion, and that's highlighted in the third paragraph, the first sentence. Our responsibility is to express opinions on these financial statements based on our audit. And our opinions are expressed in that last paragraph on page 1. In our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects. That is the important phrase. Present fairly in all material respects is what we refer to as an unmodified opinion. It's a clean opinion. It's the highest level of assurance that we can provide for us of financial statements. So the financial statements are fairly presented in all material respects in accordance with GAAP, or generally accepted accounting principles. If that's what you want to see as a board, is that unmodified opinion. Page 2, I don't have any highlights there. It's just the rest of the independent auditor's report. It refers to the required supplementary information, which would consist of your MD&A, the management's discussion and analysis, as well as the budgetary comparison schedule. And I'll touch on that schedule in a second here. Page 3 of the presentation handout. This page has both the modified accrual presentation as well as the full accrual presentation. As a governmental entity, you're required to have financial statements prepared in accordance with GASB Statement 34, the Governmental Accounting Standards Board. And so you've got a modified accrual presentation in the left-hand column and a full accrual presentation in the right-hand column. I'm going to focus on the fund level financial statements that have a general fund here. And specifically, I like to look at fund balance. And this is a snapshot as of December 31st, 2017, of your assets, liabilities, deferred inflows, and the difference between those is your equity or your fund balance. That's what you have left available for future use, future expenditure. And your total fund balance was $1.3 million, the second number from the bottom. But what you have truly available is the unassigned portion, because a part of that total fund balance, the $59,559, has already been spent. It's for prepaid expenditures. You see the same number towards the top. The second number from the top is your prepaid expenditures. So you can't spend it again. It's already been earmarked. So you've got the unassigned portion, the $1,279,000, that represents what you have for future use. And I like to compare that with your annual expenditures. And your annual expenditures for this fiscal year were $1,906,762. So that 1.2 million, almost 1.3 million, represents approximately 67% of your annual expenditures. At December 31, 2016, you're at 62%, so it did improve. But very sound, very healthy position to be in. The Government Finance Officers Association recommends that you maintain a minimum general fund balance equal to 2 months of what they call or refer to as normal operations. So 2 out of 12 is about 17%, and you're at 67.
Wow.
So
We're doing good.
yeah. The next page, page 4 here, this again has the combined presentation. I included it here just to refer to it, but it is a little backwards because it starts with expenditures. This is the required presentation under GASB Statement 34. It starts with expenditures, you add in the program revenues, general revenues, and you come up to the net change in fund balance. You can see that you added $55,000 to your fund balance. But because this is a unique or different presentation that you only see one time a year in the audit report, I also included the budgetary comparison schedule on the next page. And this has a more traditional presentation. It starts with revenues and subtracts out expenditures. So the actual column, the third column over, I'll highlight that. Total revenues for the year, $1,961,970. That was a decrease actually of about 1% from 2016. So your revenues were down slightly, but about 1%. The expenditures were also down from 2016. Your total expenditures, $1,906,762. That was about 4% lower than the previous year's total expenditures. And as I said, you added $55,208 to your fund balance. In the 2016 report, you had a couple of special things. You had a special item related to the transfer from the township, and then a prior period adjustment related to the over-remitted property tax revenues from previous years. that factored into that. So last year, you actually increased your fund balance $658,000. And I mention that because you'll see this on the next page. I have a 5-year bar graph that shows you the total general fund revenues, expenditures, and total fund balance for the past 5 years. And 2016 kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. It's related to those special items and unique items that were reported in that year. 2015, you see a jump in your activity. That was when you increased, the voters increased the millage. And then 2017, I have in my notes, this should be a normal year, right? This should be our benchmark for normal operations. But as I said, very healthy fund balance at 67% of your expenditures. On the next page, a couple of pie charts here to give you a visual perspective of your composition of revenues and expenditures. As you can see, property taxes are very important here. 93% of your revenues come from property taxes. On the expenditure side, salaries were at 45%. This year, repairs and maintenance followed for number 2 at 15%, and then fringes were at 13%. So if you take your salaries and your fringes, about 59% is related to personnel costs, which makes a lot of sense in your personnel. It's a human relations organization, and you provide personal services. So 59% for 2017. We did not have any findings or recommendations. If you have a letter that says that, it's a pretty boilerplate letter. It says you don't have any material weaknesses that we uncovered in the audit. It doesn't say that you don't have any significant deficiencies, but if you had significant deficiencies, we would have to tell you about those. We're just not allowed to tell you you don't have any. It's an obvious standard.
But the absence of anything about it
Right.
would suggest that there were.
Exactly, yeah, you can deduct that, I guess.
Okay.
As I said, field work went very smoothly, and our thanks again to Julie and staff. And I know I went through that very quickly, but I'd be happy to answer any
Well,
questions.
we appreciate that, because since we started as a new entity, and over the time, we have now gotten to what we consider to be a normal operating year, and so we're looking forward to continuing that.
We are as well.
Are there any questions? Was very clear?
Thank you.
I like the way you presented it with everything highlighted.
Very helpful, yes.
And
yes.
I've looked at a lot of audit reports, and that
Yeah, this
was,
one was readable.
yeah, that was quite clear, so.
And this helps for those of
Yeah.
us who do not have an accounting background.
Everybody
Yes.
seems to like the pictures.
Yes.
It's been really nice, Aaron's staff, and they're very easy to work with, they make it easy for us. And while they don't point out deficiencies per se, they are very helpful in terms of answering questions. So when we say we want to improve some sort of monetary controls or whatever, and I say I'm thinking about doing this, and they'll at least give me some guidance as to whether I'm headed in the right direction in terms of making things better. So that's been very helpful for us, because as Meryl pointed out, we're a new entity, and sometimes we don't know what we don't know, and when you're trying to prevent any kind of fraud, sometimes you can't even think of where the hole might be, because you've not seen it before. So I really appreciate that your staff has been very helpful in that area.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. That was very clear, and we like the result. All right. The next item,
Should we do a motion to approve that
oh,
report?
yes, we should do that. I'll accept a motion to approve the audit. That was so well presented.
Second.
Which one wants it?
Who wants one of this? We'll give it to Dan.
Yeah,
She was
did the
first.
second, she did the...
Okay, very good.
All those, if there are no questions, then all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you very much for your
Thanks, Sarah.
presentation. Item 3, I do not want to mispronounce.
Niche.
Niche Academy, all right.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and go over the basic information. This is from our head of IT and our head of adult services. In an effort to improve the training resources available for both patrons and staff members have been looking for resources that are available online. One of our librarians suggested that we look at Niche Academy, a provider of video-based training, as it was something that she was familiar with and had used. Niche Academy is a library-specific online training facility that provides both a series of ready-made and updated tutorials of many of the services that we already subscribe to, as well as the ability to add our own tutorials for things that we have specific to CIDL. The staff has had a chance to test out the platform, and the feedback was positive for all that used it. Included is the introductory brochure and a price quote for the project. This is not a budgeted item, but Bill is here to talk to you about it.
Okay, so yes, it was brought up, I found this about a year or so ago as well, and it was brought back up by a librarian just recently, and so I was able to bring it up at a staff meeting. We showed everybody here how it works. It's videos and text training on Overdrive, Hoopla, basic computer usage. There's already pre-made video and text on a lot of this stuff.
For patrons.
But curated YouTube,
Yes.
let's put it that way. So, you know, it's YouTube that we know is right. Let's put it that way, because YouTube. And it's kept up to date. These particular ones are kept up to date as Overdrive changes their website, or they introduce the Libby app. You know, they update these things fairly quickly, and so we can take those trainings and assign them to people. They can take them. We can know that they've taken them in staff, and well, we can just hand it off to patrons. We don't need to know if they've taken them or not. And we can also create our own video and or text-based trainings, and we can also edit some of their trainings, and we can actually submit our trainings to other libraries if they want to use them. So it's really a kind of a neat centralized training facility that's very library specific. And so yeah, everybody, I received many bits of feedback on the test. People are already saying, well, we could also create this, we could do this with this. Like, this is what I was looking for. You know, hey, we like these. There was one not negative, but some of the videos have a tablet that they show in the video that's like moving. He goes, I don't know about that. It's kind of distracting. But other than that, so they can go on the text training version if the video gets to be too much. But so I felt this was a really good product, and so I brought it in front of you guys.
Okay, so if a patron came in and wanted to learn how to use Hoopla,
we could direct them to our website. Basically, we put a bit of code into our website that actually pops out a link set, or we can even share an entire course to Facebook, or to highlight a specific course on our website where we could then put it there, and they could just click on it, and they can take it themselves at home or here or wherever. It's also
it would certainly help our patrons if they had questions then about all of these new programs that we're adding.
Oh, I think so, definitely. And then they can be at home with their own machine.
Right, their own equipment, and it's fully responsive, so they can watch it on whatever device they're using. So they can watch it on their phone, they can watch it on their tablets, their computers, whatever they've got it. Their smart TV, if they get the internet on their smart TV. I think there's even, I'm not going to say that there is, but I've seen people use browsers on smart TVs, and they can do it there.
So then, if they had a specific question, it would be much more targeted.
Yes, they would get to, they said, well, I got to this point, and now I'm having an issue.
Sure.
You know, I did steps 1, 2, and 7. Well, you skipped 3, 4, 5, and 6. Well, then we'll get beyond that. But so I got to this point, and this is where I'm stuck. It makes it much, much simpler for our information librarians, or me, or Connor, whoever ends up talking to the patron at that point. We can know that they've at least gotten to a point in the process. And this will also help our internal our staff
keep up to date
on what the different programs look like too, because they're not always here and say, hey, we changed, Overdrive changed, here, can you go and watch the video? You know, you want to take a look and see what they've done.
Excellent. Really, I think it's a good addition to because we have all of these things, and I think people are somewhat, the younger group who are more tech savvy, adapt to this much easier. But those who would like a little more of a look at it.
And you know, like I said, it's very, very step by step.
Yeah, and it's nice to be able to do those steps hands-on instead of talking to the information librarian.
Yes.
They're explaining it to me, but if I'm not actually doing it.
Or reading it even on the handouts we have.
Right.
You know, if there-
sometimes the visual, I mean, everybody learns different, everybody.
That's true.
But
And
it's definitely adds to what we're already doing.
right, and one of the things that this also does with the code that goes on the website, it brings up an entire list of all of our stuff, of the stuff that we train on. So somebody may not realize we have Hoopla, even though we've, you know, how we've marketed it other ways. But they get to this thing, oh, wait a minute, what's this? And then they can go on and they can learn about a new service we have. Or if we wanted to add our own services into there, you know, our notary service, or, you know, how to come in and do notary with a person, what you need, you know, that sort of thing. We can create those and have them available for the patrons as well.
I like it.
Very
Me too.
good. Any more questions? I'll accept a motion.
It's not currently a budgeted item, and it would be $1,800. So he's requesting that you approve the project and make a budget adjustment of $1,800.
I move that we approve the purchase of the subscription to Niche Academy for a yearly cost of $1,800. And that, you want it all as one motion?
They can be a,
Okay. And that we move the $1,800 from undesignated revenue to line 927 subscriptions to pay for the subscription.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we purchase the subscription at a yearly cost of $1,800 and approve a budget adjustment of $1,800 from undesignated revenue to line 927, which is subscriptions, to pay for this subscription. Any other questions or comments?
I'm sorry that the typo, it should be 727. I just noticed that. I apologize.
Not 927.
Not 927, 727.
727.
All right, I'll change my motion accordingly.
Thank you. I just looked at it, that doesn't sound right.
Change my second.
Sorry, I apologize.
We've made an amended motion. Yes. Of moving the undesignated, moving $1,800 from undesignated revenue to line 727. So it will be in the correct area. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Okay, the motion is carried. I think that's an excellent idea. The next item is a nice one also. We have been needing to add a new teen librarian to our staff. Our current librarian has accepted another position in this department, and so we received 19 resumes, and the subcommittee interviewed the top candidates. And so we'll let Julie present that.
At the meeting on April 16th, 2018, the library board approved the posting for a full-time youth and teen services librarian, since our current employee has accepted a position and will be leaving us in a few weeks. We received 19 resumes. The selection committee consisted of Tracy Bedford, Tina Rosso, Julie Meredith, and Marilyn Pomeroy. We conducted 3 interviews and narrowed the field to our top 2 choices. We invited the members of the library's Teen Lead program that you met at the meeting to provide input about characteristics of their ideal candidate. We also discussed setting up a second interview that would include the teens, but they were too busy at this time to be able to do that. While both candidates were excellent, after thorough consideration and discussion, the committee unanimously recommends Elena Jones. Elena Jones is currently working as a part-time teen librarian at the Westland Public Library, where she handles programming, budget, and collections for that age group. She has experience working with a teen advisory board and using their input to develop teen-centered programs. She is professional but young at heart with great knowledge of pop culture and teen interests. The examples of projects and activities she highlighted in her interview indicate that she thrives in a team environment but is also able to work independently on projects as needed. Based on her education and experience, the committee believes that she will be a good fit for our library and able to hit the ground running with our teen programming and upcoming summer events. Based on the salaries of current staff and the experience on her resume, the committee recommends a salary of $43,000 and a standard full-time employee benefits package with a start date of June 1st, 2018. This salary is within the budget already allotted for the position in 2018. There may need to be a slight budget adjustment for insurance benefits if the coverage of the new employee is different from the previous employee, but this can be addressed before the end of the year if there is an issue. The one nice thing about this is that her June 1st start date is prior to Alexa's last day, and they will have a few days where they can work together and we can have a smooth transition. And both of them are excited about that possibility, so I think that'll make things a little bit easier.
We think it's important for continuity. The teens had a voice in the selection of our last teen librarian, and we thought it important to include their input on the selection of the current teen librarian.
When we talked to them, the last time we actually had them come in and be a part of the second interview process, I almost got the impression when Tracy contacted them that based on how smoothly it went last year, they trusted us to make a good choice.
Which is good.
Which is good. Last year, we also had an internal candidate. So we had one internal, one external, and they were a little bit more concerned about wanting to get to know both of them. This year, they're both external candidates. When we narrowed the field down to 2, so we asked them for their input, and they gave us their main concern was they wanted to see the programming continue. Well, that was easy. We already knew we were going to do that, and we knew that the new person coming in would be very much in favor of doing what was already in play and then adding to it. So.
And this is a busy time of year.
It is
for
a
students.
hugely busy time of year, but there wasn't that sort of, we didn't get the impression when Tracy contacted them that they were sort of upset that they weren't being, I think they felt like they were being included, and they go, no, you've got this.
And the candidate that we selected had experience working with the teen advisory board. So we thought that that was important because we have one, and since they made a nice presentation to us.
They did. And I think it's really important that they see that we're taking them seriously. I mean, I feel really strongly about that because so many people just kind of want to write off kids as, oh, they're just kids, you know. And I think that we should take them seriously. They are a big part of our service population.
And we want the continuity between when they're children, tweens, teens, into the adult sector, that there's sort of a seamless transition as they age. All right, any questions to, I guess I'm the only, Julie and I are the 2 members of the interviewing committee who are here. And so we had because this person will serve under our department head, which is Tracy Bedford, and so another of the teen librarians was in on the interview process. So since it's important that they work together as a team, we stress that in all our departments, and so we felt this was the best match. So are there any questions or?
No, I for one trust I think that it's a well put together committee.
It's actually kind of fun interviewing candidates. So I enjoy serving on that subcommittee. All right, I'll accept a motion.
I move to appoint Elena Jones as full-time youth and teen services librarian with a salary of $43,000 and the standard benefits package of a full-time employee. The date of hire will be Friday, June 1st, 2018.
Second. Is there a second? Okay, Dan seconds. All right, are there any questions before we vote? You'll have the entire packet, her proposal, her resume are all included in the packet. I'm sure everybody's had a chance to look at that. In that case, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion accepted. All right.
Thank you. Tracy will be very, very relieved to have somebody in place.
Excellent. Now, the final item on our agenda tonight is the review and approval of the library board self-evaluation plan.
The Library Board Self-Evaluation Subcommittee gathered and reviewed a number of board evaluation tools. The subcommittee then met to develop a plan and adapt a tool that would parallel the staff and director evaluation systems that were board approved last year. The results of this work are included in your packet for review. 2 issues that were discussed and resolved but could still potentially be adjusted were, 1, the mechanism for staff input. In the current proposed plan, the library director will seek staff input through department head meetings and all staff meetings. 2, who would compile the summary of the evaluation of the discussion? This could be a task of the performance review subcommittee, or it could be assigned to the library director or workshop minute taker. While it had been discussed that this process would be an evaluation of the board's conduct as a unit, an additional self-reflection piece, not to be shared, was part of one of the samples. The subcommittee saw great value in this and incorporated it into the proposed plan. So I'll turn this over to the subcommittee. I was the minute taker.
Well, I think that we did a good job of putting something together. We tried to look at what we felt were the main areas that a board should be responsible for. And it's a way for us to evaluate ourselves with, and hopefully, and this was one of the pieces that we struggled with, was getting some staff input. I mean, it's obviously easiest for Julie because she works with us all the time. But Bill, for example, certainly has dealings with the board, and if there was a concern, if one of us were trying to do an end run around the director and get you to do something that was inappropriate, that needs to be dealt with at this time. So we wanted some kind of a mechanism for that to be able to take place without putting this staff on the spot, feeling like, well, I don't know how to review. So it was kind of something we played around with. We think just having Julie ask for input at staff meetings and department head meetings probably is sufficient. If anyone else has any other suggestions, we're wide open for those. The other thing we struggled with was exactly how we, once we did the process, and how we compile and what the reporting mechanism of the results is. We felt that it is important that some form of report be made to the public, because that's who we serve. But we don't really, most people are not going to be interested in every detailed thing. But we feel that if we do this at a workshop, we can, at the workshop, come up with some way of reporting this that we can then report it at the next board meeting. Following that, I hope that you will all take a chance, take some time to look at this and let us know if there's any concerns.
So would we fill these out before the workshop?
Before the workshop, yes, I think.
Which would be in September, is that what we decided?
Yeah, that's what we decided,
Okay.
because that fits with the timing of the director and staff evaluations.
And you have from September to December, because remember, we do the
That's
budget
right.
approval in September. So you could start the process in September, or maybe it could bleed into October, November. It's not you're going to do this on September 1st and have it done by September 30th. But we gave you a window.
So, but, I would appreciate any input if anyone has any suggestions. And thanks to Allison and Ann for working so hard with me on this project. And to Julie, as always, for providing research and note-taking.
I would like a really good and varied discussion about what was offered to us as a possible suggestions from other places, and we like this one because it was relatively concise, and the little bumps that were brought up, we were able to come to agreement on and put them in here, and I think it worked quite well.
I'd like to thank your
I
committee for
think
doing this.
we were looking at the
Thank you.
future too. That was part of it, was when all of us who are so, dedicated here might not be here. Is this evaluation going to work well? Then that was one thing we talked about.
Yeah, because that is a very important thing. It's,
Yes.
I believe that this board is an excellent board. I think that everyone is
Yes.
doing a great job. But if we have a good tool in place, that will help future boards
Yeah, give the,
know what, because it does provide some things about, well, what we should be doing, we should be having a representative of the Friends at our meetings. That came out, that was in the questionnaire, and I'm like, oh yeah, we did that. So, it's I think it's really helpful for future boards to be able to look and
Yes.
see what we should be doing.
Yeah, and I'd like to echo Mary's comment. Thank you so much for working on this, because we know, the board felt that if we're going to evaluate our staff, we're going to evaluate the director, it is only transparent that we evaluate the function of the board. And because we are an appointed board, a non-paid board, so really it is a volunteer activity. And so we wanted to see if we could find a document that would help us look at how we function as a board going now and going forward, what recommendations. And I think your idea of having a workshop where we can look at all of these and discuss them and come to some conclusions that we can then share with the public. And of course, that meeting would also be
It
open
would
to
be
the
an open
public.
meeting, absolutely.
But I think that's an excellent idea. So
Thank you.
I'll even accept a motion to, and besides, one thing to say, we said with the staff and Julie as the director, if it needed tweaking,
Right.
because this is the first run-through for all of these, is that once we had completed the cycle, then we would evaluate and see if each document is doing the job for which that we had envisioned. And that's working fine. So I want to thank you for this, and I think that's excellent, and I think we will study it, and all we need to do is set a time for the meeting.
Do you want to approve this, or do you want to look at it and approve it at the next meeting, or what are your thoughts on that?
I think, did everyone get a chance to look through it?
I did. I think we would vote.
Yes, me too. Three of you looked at it intensely, and the rest of us have looked at it also. I like it, it's short.
Yes.
That was a stated goal.
Yes,
Don't-
I am perfectly willing to accept a motion tonight.
Well, I move to approve the library board self-evaluation plan, questionnaire, and self-reflection as presented.
Second. Okay, and we'll have, Dan will second again, so we have two non-subcommittee members who have done that. All right, so are there any other questions or comments?
Thank you.
Personally, I like the way that it's laid out. I thought it was very clear, so I look forward to.
Yeah, we looked at 3 or 4, and that one was the clearest. It was a little bit longer when we started, but it was also for a nonprofit, so it wasn't
As specific.
totally library specific, so we pulled out some stuff that we thought, that doesn't really apply.
There was one sample that was very library specific, and it was many, many, many pages, and we determined maybe that was a little bit too much.
In my experience, if it's too many pages, then people don't fill it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
And then you don't get the value of everybody participating, so.
all right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is approved. Now we have homework.
Now's the time for the
Should we try
homework.
to set a date now for a workshop, or can that be,
I think you can wait until September.
Just wait.
And, yeah, I don't,
we get to think about it?
enjoy your summer, don't worry about it.
We will. All right, that sounds good. All right, in that case, I'll accept a movement to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Not a sound. Thank you. Our meeting is adjourned at 6:55. Thank you very much.